I bought the cheapest snare drum you can find on Amazon. The company claims this drum has excellent craftsmanship and is perfect for drummers of all skill levels. We're gonna find out if this thing holds up or if it just falls apart. Now, when I picked this drum up, I was on Amazon, and at the time, it was like around $40. I think I paid 37 bucks for it. I just logged onto the app, and it's down to $29, which I can't believe how they can ship this for $29. So there you go. It's kind of a lot of caveats with this though. This thing is dirt cheap as far as the build quality goes. Do not let the Amazon listing fool you. This thing is pretty much junk as far as the wood quality, the hardware quality, the throw off, and the included heads that come with it. You may notice I already have switched them out, but I'm gonna show you guys what they sound like. Let's hop over to the kit. In the box, you get the snare drum, you get a set of sticks, you get a strap so you could kind of march with it, I guess, if you wanted to, and you also get a drum key. Now, the drum that I got was actually missing a tension rod. So, I had to look around, but I had some additional tension rods that I was able to replace the one that was on here. As I was tuning the drum up, that one was just stripping. It was just not holding correctly. I'm lucky that I had more parts kind of laying around and I found one that fit. So we could actually crank this up because I was struggling to get this drum to sound like a Piccolo snare drum. This thing is 13 by 3.5. So it's a Piccolo snare drum. But you really could use this for a lot of different cases. Now, so I did get the drum up to kind of where I wanted. Let me talk about the build quality. We have 8 lugs on the drum. It's pretty standard of cheap snare drums. They claim this is cold rolled steel. I'm not a material expert. I don't know what exactly that means. The metal material on here is not impressive at all. So it's not like, you're getting something that great. I mean, there's a lot of imperfections just kind of overall on this drum, not just on the hardware, but on the wood shell itself. I mean, it looks like the shell here, you've got like a plastic black wrap on here. But as far as, like I was saying, the imperfections, the bearing edge, do not expect anything good whatsoever with the bearing edge. The hardware that holds the lugs up, you can kind of see has a couple cracks in it. Not really good quality as far as the wood goes, but again, when we put new heads on a drum like this, it's still gonna sound like a drum, and that's actually purposely why I picked up the HD Dry for this, because on a cheap drum like this, I want to try to hide as many imperfections as possible. And so a thicker style head that already has holes for absorbing some of that extra tone, that's gonna go a long way. And you'll see shortly when I demo this snare drum with the heads tuned up high. So taking the original heads off wasn't too much of a problem. The thing you will notice is that the threading on the lugs is really poorly machined. You can really feel kind of like tension while you're screwing, and it's just because these threads, they're not good. They're not machined well. And so, depending on the luck of the draw, you might get 1 or 2 that are machined well, and then the rest kind of are like really tight and hard to crank on. I pretty much just used a standard drum key. I didn't use a high tension key or anything. I was able to still get this thing tuned pretty well. You gotta take a chance on a drum like this because you just really don't know what you're gonna get in terms of machining. This throw off here, this thing is terrible, but it does tighten up really well. Like the tension on this is actually really good. So it does hold the snares really well. The strainer and the throw off, they use Phillips screws. So you can't use a drum key from this. So I was fighting with that, trying to use a Phillips head, and I actually used a driver that was too small, and I started stripping these screws. So make sure you use a big enough Phillips head when you're using this, and just be careful while you're tightening, because the more and more we start switching the snares off of this, the easier it's gonna be for those to strip, and then that's gonna be a big problem that you don't wanna deal with down the line. I did fight with trying to get the wires back on, but eventually kinda got it figured out. This not a good situation for the strainer. Appearance-wise, it's nothing impressive. It's just a simple black finish. You know, you've got your metal, steel-ish looking hoops, which, I mean, it looks fine. It looks like a cheap drum. Skill levels and who is it good for? So I think if this is your first snare drum and you're learning at school, could be a good option because number one, this thing is very light. When I was younger and I was in elementary school, we had rental snare drums and they were 14 by 5.5 and they gave you a backpack that it would fit in. So I had to wear my normal backpack for school with books and stuff. And then on top of that, I'd throw my snare drum on it. And that thing was heavy. This is a lot smaller than a regular snare drum. I think this is awesome if you have to commute with a drum on the school bus or going to drum lessons, whatever it might be. Great option for younger kids. Number two, if you're somebody that is like, you know, I want more drum toys and just more fun things for messing around on the kit, this is a good option because you don't have to spend a bunch of money on a more expensive Piccolo drum. You can still get a pretty good sound out of this. I was thinking about this, like my band Vinyl Theater, we're doing some new songs right now and I'm recording the drum parts here. I'm like, I could probably use this on a recording and get like a professional sound. And then obviously the third one is like if you want to have your main snare drum and then have one that you swap to, that's like a completely different tuning. You could do that with this and you don't have to fork over a bunch of money for a really expensive drum. Now I'm sounding redundant because I'm just saying like, yo, it's really affordable and you can still get a good sound. That's kind of my synopsis with this. I don't know long-term how this is gonna hold up. I played it for like 3 hours. Nothing has broken on it yet. I was even shocked that I was laying into the stock heads pretty hard and those heads are really thin. And I was really concerned that I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be playing on this and I'm gonna break the head and then I'm not gonna have it for the video. So fortunately, while I was testing it, that didn't happen. I was able to get the shots. So far, it's holding up pretty well. One other thing on the tuning, because I said these are machined pretty poorly, if you're really trying to crank this up high, get yourself a high tension key. These are the kind of keys you'll see marching snare drum players use. They're like a big T, so you just get a lot more tension and you can really crank down on this. So obviously this is not gonna replace my main snare. I would love to have this as my side snare. Probably gonna set it up there and do some more on my TikTok with it, which has kind of been a big focus of mine lately. Maybe you've seen some short videos popping up of me playing on YouTube, but TikTok is kind of my main area of focus for short form content. You can go and follow me over there if you want. So I'm going to implement this into my setup and play it till it breaks. And we'll see what happens. But for under $50, and depending on how long this new sale ends, under $30, I think this drum is gonna be a lot more usable than I expected. Now, I'm not going out there and shilling for this drum saying like, oh my God, you have to buy this. This is just a video to kind of show off like, hey, let's buy the cheapest drum you can find. What are you getting for that money? Like, what do you actually get for the cheapest drum you can find? Not a horrible drum, but it still has a lot of flaws. Now, if you want to see a snare drum that excelled, check out my review of the Sonar Compressor series. I'll have that linked in the card right here. And thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. YouTube thinks you'll like this video next. Let me know if they're right.